Hello, I am Dr. Hana Sasaki. Thank you for taking the time to be with me today. I truly appreciate it. I want you to pause for a moment and notice how your body feels when you first wake up. Do your joints greet you with stiffness that makes you pause before swinging your legs out of bed? Do you find yourself calculating whether you can chase after a grandchild in the yard or kneel in the garden without paying for it later? These are the quiet questions so many of us in our 60s, 70s, and beyond ask ourselves. We have been told that this gradual slowing down is simply the cost of having lived a long life. We hear it from friends at coffee, we see it in advertisements for pain relief, and we feel it in the way our bodies seem to resist the very movements that once felt automatic. But what if that stiffness and hesitation is not an inevitable life sentence? What if it is actually your body sending you a very clear request for a different kind of attention, not more aggressive gym sessions that leave you sore for days, and not complete avoidance that only makes things worse? Your tissues are speaking, and they are asking for movement that respects how we change after 50. In my years practicing medicine here in the United States, I have seen thousands of patients who believe their best years of mobility were behind them. Many arrive at my office convinced that their hips, knees, or back have simply worn out like old tires. The good news I share with them, and with you today, is that much of what we label as aging is actually reversible functional decline. The body remains remarkably plastic. It can rebuild strength, restore balance, and regain confidence at any age when we give it the right signals. Today I'm going to walk you through 5 science-backed movements that target the exact systems that tend to fade first: muscle power, neuromuscular coordination, connective tissue resilience, balance, and spinal mobility. These are not exercises for vanity or for chasing six-pack abs. They are practical tools designed to protect your independence, sharpen your reaction time, and help you continue doing the things that bring you joy, whether that is dancing at a wedding, traveling with friends, or simply getting up from the floor without assistance. There is also one crucial shift in how you perform these movements that almost everyone overlooks. It is a small adjustment in timing and control that dramatically improves results and reduces injury risk. I will share that detail later, along with the science behind why it works so well. So please stay with me until the end. This is not a quick tip video. We are going to go deep together, because you deserve the full picture. Let us begin by understanding what is actually happening inside our bodies as the decades pass. The term sarcopenia refers to the gradual loss of muscle mass and strength, but it is about more than just size. It involves a decline in neuromuscular efficiency. Think of the connection between your brain and your muscles like a high-speed fiber optic cable. In our younger years, those signals travel instantly. You decide to stand up and your glutes and thighs respond without you having to think about it. Over time, with less varied movement, those pathways become less responsive. The cables do not disappear, but the signal strength weakens. At the same time, our connective tissues, tendons, ligaments, and fascia lose some of their springiness. They become drier and less adaptable, much like a rubber band left in a drawer for years. Walking is excellent, and I recommend it daily, but it primarily moves us forward and backward. It does not fully challenge the side-to-side stability or the explosive power we need to recover from a near fall or to stand up from a low chair. Many patients tell me they have simply accepted their knee pain or lower back stiffness as normal. In my clinic, I gently explain that pain is often not a sign to stop moving completely. It is frequently a signal that certain stabilizing muscles have grown quiet, and the body is now asking the wrong tissues to do the heavy lifting. When we listen to that signal and respond with intelligent movement, the body begins to remodel itself. Bones become denser, muscles regain power, nerves wake back up. This is not wishful thinking, it is physiology, and the research is very clear. I would like to share a story that illustrates this beautifully. A few years ago, a woman named Margaret came to see me. She was 71, vibrant in every way except one. She had given up the thing she loved most, tending her rose garden. The simple act of kneeling down to prune or standing back up had become so painful in her hips that she decided it was safer to stop altogether. She told me with tears in her eyes that she felt like her body was betraying her. When we assessed her movement, we discovered her hip stabilizers had become extremely weak from years of cautious, limited motion. Her joints were not destroyed, they were simply unprotected. We began with the gentlest versions of the movements I will teach you today. Nothing dramatic, just consistent, thoughtful practice. Within 6 weeks, she reported less pain. Within 3 months, she was back among her roses, this time with greater ease than she had felt in years. She sent me photographs of her garden in full bloom and wrote that she felt like she had gotten part of her life back. Stories like Margaret's are why I continue to record these videos. The human body is far more resilient than we have been led to believe. The key is choosing the right stimulus at the right intensity and progressing with patience and respect for where you are right now. Let us move into the first and perhaps most important exercise, the sit-to-stand transition. This single movement has been shown in multiple studies to be one of the strongest predictors of how independently we will live in our later decades. It is that fundamental. Here is how I want you to practice it. Sit toward the front edge of a sturdy chair with your feet flat on the floor about hip-width apart. Keep your chest tall, as though a string is gently pulling the top of your head toward the ceiling. Bring your hands to your chest or extend them forward for balance. Now, as you exhale, press through your heels and stand up fully, squeezing your glutes at the top. The real magic happens on the way back down. Instead of collapsing into the chair, take a full 3 to 4 seconds to lower yourself with control. Your thighs will likely begin to burn. That is exactly what we want. That controlled descent is speaking directly to your muscle fibers and your nervous system. Try for 5 to 10 repetitions whenever you have a moment. You can do this every time you stand up from the dinner table or rise from your reading chair. The beauty is that it requires no special equipment and can be done in ordinary clothes. If you have knee discomfort, you can place a cushion on the chair to shorten the range at first. The goal is not to exhaust yourself, but to send a clear, consistent message that your legs are strong and capable. The second movement takes us into the lateral plane, something most of us neglect. Life tends to happen forward and back, walking, sitting, reaching. Yet our hips are designed to handle side-to-side forces, and that ability is what often prevents falls as we age. Stand with your feet hip-width apart and your posture tall. You may want to hold on to the back of a chair at first. Now take a slow, controlled step out to the side with your right foot, bending both knees slightly into a mini side lunge. Keep your chest facing forward and your torso upright. Then press back to the starting position. Alternate sides. 10 repetitions each direction is plenty. What you are strengthening are the glute medius muscles on the sides of your hips. When these are strong, your pelvis stays level with every step you take. This reduces strain on your lower back and improves your overall stability when walking on uneven ground or turning quickly. I often tell patients to imagine they are gently stepping over a puddle. The movement should feel smooth and deliberate rather than bouncy. If you practice this while waiting for water to boil or while standing at the kitchen counter, it quickly becomes part of your day instead of another chore on your list. Our third focus is the entire posterior chain, the powerful muscles that run from your heels up through your calves, hamstrings, glutes, and back. Modern life keeps us folded forward for hours at computers, in cars, and on sofas. Over time, the front of our bodies tighten while the back grows sleepy. We need to wake those muscles up. A simple yet effective way is the standing glute squeeze combined with a wall push. Stand with your back a few inches from a wall. Press your lower back gently into the wall and squeeze your glutes as though you are trying to crack a walnut between them. Hold for 5 seconds, then release. For the wall push-off, face the wall with your hands at shoulder height. Slowly bend your elbows to lower your chest toward the wall. Then press away with power while keeping your body in one straight line. These movements are not about heavy sweating. They are about reestablishing connection with muscles that have been dormant. Pay close attention to whether you can actually feel the muscles working. If you cannot, slow down even more or reduce the range until the mind-muscle connection returns. That connection is everything. The fourth movement may be the most important for preventing falls. Balance is not something we either have or do not have. It is a trainable skill. Every time you challenge it in small, safe doses, your nervous system improves its ability to make rapid corrections. Begin by standing near a counter or sturdy chair. Shift your weight onto your left leg and lift your right foot just an inch or two off the floor. You do not need to hold perfectly still. In fact, the small wobbles are where the learning happens. Your brain is rapidly communicating with your ankle, knee, and hip muscles to keep you upright. That conversation is what keeps you steady when life throws you a curveball, like an icy sidewalk or a sudden turn in the grocery aisle. Start with 10 seconds per side and gradually build. Some of my patients progress to brushing their teeth on one leg. Others close their eyes once they feel confident, which further challenges the vestibular system. The key is to practice regularly, rather than pushing for dramatic duration in a single session. Our fifth movement restores the overhead reach that many of us lose without realizing it. When we stop reaching for high shelves or stretching toward the sky, our thoracic spine stiffens and our shoulders lose range. This creates that rounded posture we associate with old age and shifts our center of gravity forward, making us less stable. Stand with your back lightly touching a wall or hold a light resistance band. Inhale as you reach both arms overhead, keeping your ribs gently drawn down so your lower back does not arch excessively. Stretch as though you are trying to touch the ceiling, then lower with control. Perform this rhythmically for 10 to 12 repetitions. You are not only opening your chest and shoulders, but also mobilizing the entire upper spine. Many patients report that after a few weeks, they can once again reach items in the top kitchen cabinet without asking for help. Small victories like that rebuild confidence in daily life. Now, let us talk about the one shift that ties all of these movements together and dramatically improves their effectiveness. It is something called eccentric control, focusing on the lengthening or lowering phase of each exercise. Most people rush through the easiest part of a movement. They stand up quickly from a chair but drop back down without thinking. They push away from the wall with force but let themselves collapse back in. Research on aging tissues shows that the real stimulus for building bone density, strengthening tendons, and improving muscle quality happens during that controlled lengthening phase. When you lower slowly, your muscles are actually producing more force than during the lifting phase. This controlled stress tells your body to reinforce itself. It is the difference between simply moving and actively remodeling. Let me make this practical for each exercise we discussed. During the sit to stand, make the descent last 4 full seconds, count it out. During the lateral step, control the return to center instead of letting gravity do the work. When performing the wall push-off, take 3 seconds to bend your elbows and lower toward the wall. In the single leg balance, when you lower your raised foot, do it with deliberate slowness, and during the overhead reach, lower your arms as though they are moving through gentle resistance. This single adjustment, controlling the descent, can reduce joint discomfort, accelerate strength gains, and improve tissue resilience more effectively than simply adding more repetitions. I have seen it transform outcomes in my own patients time and again. If you only take one idea from our time together today, let it be this: slow down the lowering phase. Your body will thank you for decades to come. Of course, knowledge alone does not create change. Consistency is where most of us stumble. The good news is that these movements do not require you to block out an hour or buy special clothes or join a gym. I encourage my patients to think of them as movement snacks, small nourishing doses of the right stimulus sprinkled throughout the day. Practice your sit to stands while the coffee brews in the morning. Do your lateral steps while waiting for the microwave. Perform glute squeezes during television commercials. Balance on one leg while brushing your teeth at night. These tiny investments compound powerfully over months. After 30 days, most people notice they are rising from chairs more easily. After 90 days, many report walking with greater confidence and sleeping better because their bodies feel more at ease. I also want you to consider the story you tell yourself about your body. Are you treating it like a machine that is slowly rusting beyond repair, or like a garden that simply needs regular, thoughtful tending? Because that is what it is, a garden. Some areas may be overgrown with tension. Others may have become a bit barren from neglect. But with consistent care, sunlight, water, and the right nutrients, a garden can surprise us with new growth even after many seasons. You are the gardener. You're also the architect of your physical future. When you wake up tomorrow, I invite you to notice that first transition from lying down to sitting up. Do it with awareness. Feel your core engage. Appreciate the strength that is already within you and the greater strength that is waiting to be awakened. We have covered a substantial amount of ground today, but the most meaningful part begins when you close this video. I would love to hear from you in the comments. Which of these movements feels most challenging right now? Is it the balance work, the controlled descent, or perhaps regaining that overhead reach? Maybe you have already tried some of these ideas and noticed changes. Sharing your experience helps every person watching. It builds a community of people who refuse to accept decline as their only option. If this perspective gave you hope or practical tools, please share it with a friend or family member who might be struggling with similar concerns. Sometimes all it takes is one new way of seeing a familiar problem to create momentum. Thank you again for spending this time with me. I do not take your attention for granted. Your body is capable of far more than you may currently believe. It has carried you through decades of life, through joys and challenges, and it is still listening for better instructions. Keep moving with curiosity, keep reaching with intention, and remember that we are all aging, but we do not have to decline. I will see you in the next video, where we will explore how targeted nutrition can amplify the benefits of these movement patterns and support tissue repair at the cellular level. Until then, be gentle with yourself, be consistent with your practice, and trust that small daily actions truly do create remarkable long-term change. Take good care, my friends. I'm so glad you are here.